Now, the Three Lions number one, Jordan Pickford, he's been speaking to talkSPORT about how he took his game to the next level.
I just felt I could improve off the pitch with the mentality side, the psychologist side, and I always thought that was something I never needed in the game for myself. But I think that then you realise when you start getting a bit older, there's opportunities to become better, and I felt like that was always good. When I started using Jamie, it was a great time to use him, and it just gave me that structure and that straight, narrow-minded, really, to become better and be myself. It's all about being yourself. When you're away from home, being yourself, and when you're at football, being yourself, being the best Jordan Pickford on the pitch and the best Jordan Pickford at home.
There you go, Jordan Pickford speaking to talkSPORT there ahead of that game tonight. Big game against Poland. Gabby, did you ever use a psychologist in your career?
So the first time one coming to Aston Villa was when Tim Sherwood took over, and we were fighting a relegation battle. We stayed up, but when Tim Sherwood took over, the psychologist was with us for the whole time to the end of the season, probably 3-4 months. And it wasn't for me at that time. For me, it was like, because I'd been brought up with that old school Scottish youth team coaches, Ali, it was like, I was getting on with it. You know, you don't have to speak to anyone, just man up, get on with it.
Yeah.
But when I look at the guys now, using them now, I think that I would do it if I could turn back the time, 7-8 years. I would have, because you can let things out, you can speak about things that are on your mind, and you'll feel better. But my generation was more, no, okay, that you can't speak to that. And another guy coming a year later, and players will go into his office and see him, but they'd do it sneakily because it was something that he didn't want anyone to know. Does that make sense?
Was it seen as being soft?
Yeah, it was. You'd be like, oh, I can't let the lads know that I'm going in there. So they'd sneak in, and you wouldn't even know that some players were seeing the guy that he had his own office, the psychologist at Villa. But I was always the one that's like, no, it's all right, like, you'll be all right tomorrow. Just like, don't speak to anyone.
Ali?
Very much the same as Gab. We were from a school where, we were never offered that service or that help. It just wasn't there. Absolutely don't have a problem with it at all. I think it's great that if anybody can get help in that way, shape or form, then they should take it and use it. But back in the day, it was never something that was mentioned in our. If you had a problem, you'd go and see the manager or something like that. But invariably, you'd keep your problems to yourself.
Yeah.
But they'd probably say, wouldn't they? Some managers that I had, Ali, they'd be like, oh, man up, get on with it.
Yeah.
They were that ruthless, weren't they, Ali? I bet it was even worse in your day. They'd be like, oh, just get on with it. Go on get outside and train.
Just go on with it, yeah. But my managers were brilliant, absolutely brilliant, but they were all very much old school, which that was fine. I wouldn't have swapped it, but I do understand that times have changed and things have moved on.
Jordan Pickford particularly, as a lot of footballers do, has had a lot of off the field attention that he's not wanted, when he's been out drinking with his mates. I always remember there was that one where he was getting filmed by somebody, which I always think is really disgusting. Just leave them alone, let them enjoy themselves, let them have a drink and whatever. He also had obviously that clash with Virgil van Dijk, which got him a lot of negativity. I think he got death threats as well for that one too. He's never really let England down, has he? When he's put an England shout on, he's rarely let them down. In fact, more often than not, he's come out as one of their best players. Does he deserve more credit for his performances in an England shirt, Gabs?
100%. I mean, he's had erratic moments at Everton, but England, he's been Mr. Reliable. He's saving pens. He's pulling out world-class saves for England. That's why Gareth Southgate hasn't even entertained any chat of Pickford losing his place before the Euros, because he's been Mr. Consistent. So I do feel sorry for him as well, especially with the Van Dijk incident, because that must have been horrible for him. Social media nowadays, imagine the stick he was getting, the DMs he was getting, the tweets. So I feel sorry for him, but you've got to give him credit. He's got through it, and his performances have been outstanding for England.
I remember speaking to Eddie Hearn recently, and he came on our show actually and told us about this, that he randomly saw him on holiday. This was after the Euros, and just on the beach. So Eddie Hearn bumping into Jordan Pickford and his family, and they spent quite a lot of time hanging around together. And Eddie was just saying, like, he's such a sound guy. He's so down to earth. he's so normal as well. And the kind of stories that you like to hear about footballers, because sometimes we put them on a pedestal and we act like they are completely different and completely detached from reality. But Eddie was like, no, he's just such a normal guy.
There was a clip, wasn't there, after the Euros? That was on Instagram.
In some sort of tent.
Yeah, it was like in a tent in his hometown, just with like people. I think it was on someone's shoulders, wasn't it? Just enjoying life, but in his local area.
Singing to Cher.
Yeah, some of the other guys will be on the PJs to Mykonos, but he was just there, local area, just enjoying being a normal guy.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Laura Woods, Monday to Wednesday mornings 6 till 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.